Welcome to your essential business briefing. Global air travel has collapsed during the coronavirus crisis, sending many airlines to the brink of bankruptcy. The plunge in business has also hit the wider aerospace industry that builds and maintains their planes. France is home to some of the biggest names in that sector, so how badly will this crisis affect them and what hopes are there for a recovery? I'm joined now by the Chief Executive of Safran, which is the world's third largest aerospace supplier, Philippe Petitcolin. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Good morning.
Your business includes aircraft engines, aeroplane seats and much more as well. When and how did you start to see the effects of the pandemic on your business?
Well, it really started, in the middle of the month of March. Until mid-March, the activity was okay. We had an impact in China, but outside of China, the rest of the business was doing fine. So we really got the big impact of the virus impact by mid-March.
What has that meant for your factories, first of all? What sort of level of production are you operating now, and how long were things shut down for?
Well, we had to adapt according to the rules of states, different kind of governments, which had different kind of rules, even in the same country. So we had to close some plants at the beginning in order to put all the health kind of measures which were requested, and we did it, of course, everywhere we are present, and we have 250 plants in the world. And today we are running around 22% in France of our factories, and in the rest of the world 40%. So in average, as we have 45,000 people in France and about 50,000 people in international markets, we run about 30% of our factories today.
Many companies are facing how to reopen and how to get back to business. What sort of changes have you had to make in your facilities to, I suppose, meet those health requirements from authorities?
Well, we do everything which is requested, but for us, the problem is not to bring more people to work. The problem is that we don't have enough work to give to our people. The aerospace industry has been strongly impacted by the crisis, and today it's really deep in terms of impact, and it's going to last for years. So my major problem is not to bring more people to work. Major problem is to find work for these people.
So that effect was very, very quick then on your business. As we saw a drop in travel, there was an almost immediate impact on your order book.
Yeah, but if you look at the business of a company such as Safran, we did last year about 24 billion euro of sales, and which is split at 55% with OEM, so directly with Airbus, Boeing, Embraer, Bombardier, Comac in China, and 45% is done directly with the airlines, which we call services. It's maintenance, repair, overhaul of engines and equipment. And this business with the airlines has totally disappeared over the last two months. The month of March was impacted at about 20% of reduction of sales, but the month of April is in the range of 50%. So we have a reduction of our sales of 50%, and so we have to adapt to this new situation.
What is the effect so far on staff? You've had to cut some jobs, notably in Mexico. Are there more job cuts on the way?
Oh yeah, we had to cut jobs almost everywhere in the world. You mentioned Mexico, but you could also mention United States, you could mention United Kingdoms, you could mention Germany, you could mention Thailand, you could mention Morocco. So yeah, or Tunisia. We have to reduce our staff wherever we can in order to adapt to this new demand.
So what sort of cuts are you looking at now? I mean, you have a large global workforce, almost 100,000 people. Do you see that being much smaller in 6 months?
Oh, yeah. Look at our competitors. General Electric has announced that they would cut their workforce by 25%. Boeing said 10% overall, but Boeing Defense is doing well, Boeing Helicopters is doing well. So most of the reduction at Boeing is going to happen at Boeing Commercial, which means that Boeing Commercial will reduce, in my opinion, by more than 15% their workforce. So we are in the same range, we are in the same boat, we do the same kind of product, we supply this industry. So the range of reduction of workforce we are foreseeing is the same as our peers.
Now, you've furloughed a fairly large percentage of your workforce as well in various countries around the world, 45% here in France in April. There are some French companies that have chosen not to take this state money. Why was it that Safran decided to take it?
Well, it's not a question of taking the state money, it's just a question to adapt to the situation. And if we are not allowed by rule in France to lay off people, we have to find other solutions. And the only solution we could have is, going on short timing, furlough, call it as you like. We have no other choice because, again, we don't have work. It's not a question of postponing the people who have to come back to work because of any kind of situation. We know that for the next 3-4 years, we will be in a very large reduction of work. So we will have to adapt on the long term. And on short term, I have no work to give to these people. So what would you want me to do with them if I bring them back to the plant they were working on? So the situation in France is good on short term because it allows us to have time to adapt and to organize the future of our company.
Will the aerospace industry need a bailout like we've seen other industries get?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Here in
France?
France?
I think that the aerospace industry, not only in France, but yes, in France, we will have to get the support of the government for the long term. And short timing of furlough is not the answer. When you are talking about a reduction of workload of 20, 30, 40% for a period of 3 or 4 years. When you talk to Airbus and Boeing, they both say today that the level of activity we enjoyed in 2019 will not be recovered before 2023 or 2024. So we will have to adapt for these 4 or 5 years we have in front of us.
And is a bailout the way to do that? Surely you should just scale back in the meantime if it's going to be that long. What would a government bailout do to help you at this stage?
Well, they can help us by first helping our own customers. The end customers of the aerospace industry are the airlines. So just help the airlines to fly again and help them to get more flights and don't have the problems we have between borders that we have today. So help the airlines fly again. Then they can help us in research, development. We look at our competitors both on the west and on the east, China on one hand, the United States on the other hand, and we see the governments which are really helping them to go through this period of 3-4 years by giving them more incentive for research, for technology, for innovation. So yes, we are pushing today the governments, especially in France, but also at the level of Europe, to help the aerospace industry as a whole to go through this period of time.
Will
and
that,
get
I'm sorry,
at
will
the
that
end
mean,
of this period stronger.
Will that mean reshoring of facilities that you have outside of, for example, France? If the French government helps your industry out, should you be obliged to bring back production facilities to France as a consequence?
We are in a world where competitiveness is key. Competitiveness in the products you build, competitiveness in the future and in the research, the innovation you provide. We are in this industry in long cycles. We have a new program every 10 years. So you have to work for 8-9 years, and at the end, if you have the right product, you will be selected on the next program. So no, we could not accept to bring back some work which is today done in Mexico, in Morocco, for political reasons. You know, we have to adapt to the situation, we have to look at our competition, and we have to remain competitive. So if the transfer of work to France makes sense, competitiveness, in terms of competitiveness, why not? But if it doesn't make sense in terms of pricing, in terms of competitiveness, we will not do it. It's impossible.
When do you see a recovery
because
starting?
If we do that, we kill ourselves for the future.
When do you see a recovery starting in this industry?
Yeah, well, it's difficult because it's moving every day. When you look, you have two segments in the commercial aviation. You have what we call the narrow body, which are the A320, Boeing 737 families, which do short-haul kind of flying. And you have the wide body, which mainly do all the big and large international flights. So for the narrow body, for the short distance airplane, we see our customers see a recovery starting by the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. So at the end of the day, it's going to be 3 to 4 years reduction compared to what we did in 2019. But when you talk about the wide bodies, they see a reduction which could go up to 60 or 70% to what we did in 2019, and a recovery not happening before 2025 or 2026.
And can Safran survive that?
It depends where you are. But oh yeah, we will. We will, except that we will have, again, coming back to your first question, we will have to adapt. We have no other choice. So we will have to adapt in terms of cost, in terms of structure, but also protecting the future and still investing in the technologies of tomorrow.
Okay, Philippe Petitcolin, Chief Executive of Safran, thank you very much for speaking to us. That's all from us for now, but you can get in touch with your thoughts on social media. Until next time, thanks for watching.
France 24, c'est la richesse de la diversité culturelle mondiale, avec un réseau de correspondants à travers la planète.
En France 24 en español comunicamos a Latinoamérica con el mundo entero.
روح مهنية شعارها واحد حرية التعبير. هذه هي بصمة France 24.
Africa on France 24 is about its people and their stories.
Los ciudadanos nos cuentan cuáles son las iniciativas y las problemáticas que tienen en sus comunidades a través del programa Los Observadores. Eso los acerca aún más a France 24.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.